We're going to jump off. We'll use that prayer request. Thank you. Thank you very much, Chris, for that prayer request. We're going to use that as a jumping off point. Last night, my family and we went downtown in Halifax, and I went to a place called Peace by Chocolate, which was a business started by a Syrian family who are refugees here in the country. And I had to go and pick something up. I had to pick up a couple of gifts, and Peace by Chocolate is a great place to go. While we were down there, we had supper, and we went to a Scottish pub for supper. And Nyla, my daughter, she's not my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter's Nyla, my daughter, she was sitting across from me, and her brother Charlie was sitting beside her, and my wife was sitting here, and Charlie did something. He said something. He did something. There's 3 years between them, and Nyla is a very mature person. Like, she really is. Nyla is a very mature individual. She really seems to get along better with adults than she does other children. And as the 12-year-old of the family, and her brother's going to be 9 here soon, but as the 12-year-old, she has of late really taken it on herself to guide and direct his words and his actions. She's really become a policing force in his life. When he does something wrong, she tells him. When he says something wrong or in the wrong way, she tells him. I'm hearing her often take on the parental role in Charlie's life. And when I do, I offer my correction to her. And I tell her that she doesn't need to be his parent. She doesn't need that job. It's not her job. It's never been given to her, and she doesn't need to take it. As a matter of fact, taking on that responsibility is only going to tax her life. It's only going to cause her pain. Taking on the responsibility, like being a parent's tough work, right? For the parents out there, you know it, right? It's not easy work. It's a lot more fun being the uncle. I'm thinking of something Contrafax said in one of his comments. It's a lot more fun being an uncle or an aunt. It's a lot more fun, being a grandparent, being somebody who, or in most cases, but I'm speaking in generalities here, so bear with me. But it's much more fun being the relative who is fun and easygoing and can parachute in and then take off after a few hours or a few days, right? It's really difficult being a parent. It's really difficult. The responsibilities of a parent are really difficult because you can't parachute in and then take off. That's not what a parent does. So I'm encouraging Nyla to let go and to not try to form him into an image that she deems to be okay. And I'm also looking at it going, okay, what's my part in this? Like, what was my role? Did I parent Nyla in such a way? Did we as a couple parent Nyla in such a way that she believes she needs to do this for Charlie? I'm thinking about all kinds of different things. But at the end of the day, you think about, what is it? Judge not is in the Bible 365 times. It's one of those verses it's just throughout the entire book. You hear it over and over and over and over and over again. It's not to say we shouldn't be discerning, and it's not to say we shouldn't make decisions, but it is like, it's not our job to police one another. Contrafax said it earlier, right? It's not my business. It's not my job to police you. It's my job to love you. It's my job to care for you. It's my job to, if there's a moment, again, coming back to Galatians 6:1. If there's something that I feel I need to offer you, I need to do it with gentleness. But it's not my responsibility. It's not my responsibility to judge you. It's not my responsibility to parent you. It's not my responsibility to try to make you in my own image. And it's not my responsibility to try to make you into the image of God that I believe, my understanding of the image of God. It's not our job, because we're not perfect enough to do it. And it's not our job because we're not equipped, like with what the requirement to be the parent of a community. We're not equipped for that. We're not built for that. We were never meant for that. We're meant to be members of a community together, but we're not meant to lord ourselves over others and force them to become all that we decided that they should or could be. So, for all of us, love your neighbor. Don't parent your neighbor. Care for your neighbor, support your neighbor, encourage your neighbor, lift your neighbor up. Your neighbor doesn't need another parent. They don't need somebody else in their life pointing out the various things that they need to do differently, or they need to be loved, right? They need to be comforted. They need to be comforted. They need to be cared for. They need to be fed. But they don't need a parent. And for what it's worth, I think, Nyla's not doing it to be malicious. My daughter's not doing it to be malicious towards her brother. She's doing it out of genuine love, and she is, like I said, she's a 35-year-old in a 12-year-old's body. But when we try to parent people, I suspect for most of us, it comes from a genuine place of concern. It comes from the desire for our neighbor, for our friends, for our family to have the best they can possibly have. I don't imagine many of us would do this out of a desire to make somebody's life miserable. We do it because we genuinely want them to have a good life. And so there's that little trap. But we've got to be strong in rejecting that trap. We've got to be strong in seeing that it's been set for us. We have to have our eyes open for it. And we have to be courageous enough to say, no, I am not the one to control their life. Even if I think I know the best for them, I'm just not in a position that I can do that. It's for our best. It really is. It benefits us to say, no, I will not take on that responsibility. That is not my job. And it's also for the best of our neighbors and our friends and our family that we don't do it. It's going to serve them. We will serve them best when we serve them as Jesus asks us to serve, which is to love them gently, compassionately. Amen. All right.